Spirituality for the elite is cosmotheism, consciousness at the animal level turned to self-consciousness with Homo sapiens, and is now turning to cosmic consciousness. Man attuned to the cosmos, the white man as antenna to the gods. Of course, the masses will be left free to wallow in their fantasies and fables. 2. Race. An Imperium Europa for Europeans only. All others, all non-Europeans, expelled as outcasts, as with the laws of Manu. Muslims will be the easiest to evict. We will reach a grand accord with their madras, their mullahs and mahdis, who will summon all Muslims back to the Maghreb, under penalty of a fatwa. And Muslims will obey their religious leaders. They will pack their bags in undignified haste. The Asians, intelligent as they are, will simply leave quietly, as they did in Uganda with Idi Amin. More energetic measures will have to be taken with regards to truculent, recalcitrant, obdurate Africans. They will be given a choice of the carrot or the stick. 3. High culture. High culture that ensures an elite weaned on immemorial tradition, traditionalism. A revolutionary conservatism that ensures ever higher forms of life. High culture of the elite permeates downwards and determines the quality of the population, determines their architecture, environment, ethics, and all else. The high culture of the elite influences everything, gradually, over time, organically. 4. High politics. All foreign policy and contact with the outside world falls under high politics. Our food surpluses, a weapon to barter for anything we want. Not nuclear weapons or cluster bombs, but food that will permit us to coerce all the rest to do exactly as we order them to, whenever we so wish. 2 important ministries will fall under the direct orbit of high politics. The first is the issuance of currency, a euro currency backed by gold, convertible into gold. White Southern Africa and the Urals are quite enough to ensure the backing of gold, by gold, of money in circulation. Inflation would become a thing of the past. And of course, the army. The army falls under the Imperium sphere. An imperial army of some 2 million men bred for war. Warriors, not soldiers. An army that ensures that no region abandons the Imperium. An army that defends our borders. An army that defends these 5 prerogatives of the elite. And number 5, lastly, territory. Guarded by the warrior caste, never to be ceded, our living space. 2 white rings north and south of the equator. Living space is the most essential requirement for a race to fulfill itself, to grow in numbers, create and produce. An ever-expanding imperium, for an imperium must expand or die. Having said all this, all else falls within the dominium sphere. An Europa, an imperium of regions and peoples. Not the present nation-states, drawn up a few hundred years ago by drunken dukes and princes, Nation-states forever quarreling amongst themselves. France against Germany, Germany against Russia, Britain against everyone else, of course. Eternal dithering, divisiveness, divisions. The petty nationalisms that have kept us divided and quarreling amongst ourselves, the fratricides, the slaughter, the waste of our gene pool. The tragic situation in World War I, when Alsace-Lorrainians, Teutons, fought on the French side against their direct brothers, the Germans, even though the Lorrainians were more German than French. The waste of it all. And the hidden enemy has a field day, setting us against each other. Now the same enemy is provoking another Cold War against the Russians. Through his control of the media, the enemy within is depicting Putin and Russia as our foes, when they could be the saviors of the white race. The hidden enemy, the eternal mischief makers, the international manipulators. Nation-states will dissolve organically. No borders. A common passport. In fact, a common imperial ID card with all information within it. A card without which one could not buy or sell. A cashless society. An Imperium ID card forging a European consciousness amongst the four European cousins, Anglo-Saxons, Teutons, the Slavs, and last but not least, the Latins. Within this vast dominium, a planetary dominium, the old regions will emerge. Ayrshire and Yorkshire, Burgundy and Bordeaux, Corsica and Liguria, the Grand Tyrol, Transylvania, and all the rest. The old regions will come into their own. Yes, an Imperium Europa of regions and peoples, free to be themselves, free to live according to the customs, traditions, languages, and dialects, free to enact their regional laws, whatever they might be, free to be themselves. And underlying all the freedom of the peoples within the Imperium will be the concept of individual rights. These individual rights will be held sacrosanct. The Dominium sphere is all that which concerns the nation, the people. Every field of social life, environment, the economy, trade, local tax, custom, and tradition, all will be free as determined by the particular region and its people. Free, direct competition in every sphere will determine the success or otherwise of these regional laws. Mobility of labor within the Imperium will see to that. Yes, free and straight direct competition amongst the regions, amongst cousin peoples, amongst white people. The freedom of the individual is the basis of the Dominium sphere. Individual rights, not human rights. Human rights are an invention of the international manipulators, devised solely to destroy the white man by dragging him down to the rest of humanity, where the white man will be no different than a Congoid, where African illegal immigrants pretend, demand, and obtain equal rights and privileges by simply barging into our heartlands, our homes. Invaders who obtain free housing, jobs, welfare, and the rest of it, produce of the indigenous white population, a produce which these inventors could never create in 1,000,000 years. Human rights will be expunged from our dictionary. The right of the individual in whatever region he abodes to live his own life as he deems fit, pursue his pursuits, proclivities and pleasures without harming others, to choose his religion and his family structure and composition, the freedom to be truly free, out of reach of the greedy, rapacious, tyrannical clutches of big government, the so-called democracy, this hypocrisy we are living in. The individual, supreme, free to be himself, free to assume his full responsibilities, consequences of his actions. Imperium, masculinity, absoluteness, Aristotle. Dominium, femininity, freedom, Diogenes. Ave!